We're starting out on 98-pound mixed media paper. This is a 7x10 sheet of mixed media paper by Canson. You can work on any size paper you like, but I recommend that you don't go any heavier weight than 98-pound. 90-pound watercolor paper works great, but I found that I love working on mixed media paper for this as well. So I've primed the area with some just randomly spaced dots of water, and I'm dropping in my concentrated watercolor into those dots of water to allow this wet on wet technique, this application of watercolor into a pre-wet area gives you a little bit of a different feel than it does when you come in with the wet watercolor onto dry paper. As I'm outlining these orbs, sometimes I'm keeping some white space in between, and sometimes I'm letting it touch. As the shapes bump up against each other, I just sort of skip so that they look like they're in front of or behind each other. You can do any sort of design that you like on this. I like the way that these orbs, these rings of color come out when it's folded into its booklet format. going to go ahead and set this aside and let it dry and work on a second design. I'm doing stripes in varying widths. If you find that your paper curls too much, you can tape it down to the surface and end up with a white border around the outside edges. That will help it not curl, but the curling doesn't bother me so much. You'll see at the end to kind of hold it down in place when it's feeling like the watercolor is pooling and drying unevenly. It all works out in the end. I love the way that this looks even with the uneven drying. I'm going to go ahead and use my heat tool so that I can dry this watercolor a little bit faster. You can let it air dry, or you can force dry it with a hair dryer or some sort of craft tool that's made to dry this sort of work. On this first one, we're going to fold it long and skinny. So this is also called the hot dog fold. Think of the paper folded long and skinny like this. It looks like a hot dog rather than a hamburger. I'm using my bone folder to make sure that that fold is nice and crisp and tight. I'm going to go ahead and fold each of those edges out to that center fold so that we have an accordion fold. Both sides are going to fold out. And then I'm going to reverse those folds just to, again, make sure that the folds are nice and crisp and it's easy to manipulate the paper later. I'll go ahead and fold it again and burnish the folds with my bone folder. Then I'm going to fold in the other direction. That's the hamburger orientation. So one time in the center, open it back up. Fold it so that I'm looking at the white side of the paper, and then I'm going to cut from the folded edge in through just 2 of those 4 segments, as you can see there. We want to make sure that the color is trapped on the inside. You can see how I'm folding just like so, and then pick it up from the color side and fold it. You may have to stop and rewind and watch that again. I love the way the little bitty parts show up. This is definitely, the parts are greater than the whole. I love the way that the pages end up working out. So I'm going to go ahead and use glue stick on the back side. This is on the white side. Go ahead and apply glue stick liberally over the entire surface. No dry spots. Cover everything up with the glue stick. And then when we're putting it back into its booklet formation, you want to make sure that those edges are really, really lined up. This is, do your best to not get them off. Paper's a little bit fiddly when it's got all the glue on it, but I like to start with, on this one I'm starting with the inside edges. Next one I think I'll do the outside edges, but just making sure that where the paper is aligning, that it is not off center or off, as good as you can do it. So it gets a little bit fiddly. You'll see as you try and turn these pages that they kind of want to pull, and I find that the glue stick helps keep everything aligned and not get off center, but you can see that it has a certain way, a certain orientation that it really wants to fold so that it's in this booklet shape, if that makes sense. I do have a little bit of off center, well, a little bit of where the next page is showing a little bit behind. So it's perfectly imperfect, and I'm absolutely happy with that. But using your bone folder as you're turning the pages just to ease them in makes a big difference. And then I'm going to go ahead and let that one get dry, and the glue stick takes a little bit to dry. And then we'll move on to the other orientation with the stripes. So I got this one dry as well. And this time, instead of hot dog fold first, we're going to start with hamburger fold. So going the other orientation, my paper is in landscape orientation, and then I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half, and again fold each one of those edges towards the center fold so that you have an accordion fold. Followed by folding it one time in the hot dog fold, long and skinny. Again, using my bone folder to make sure that those folds are nice and crisp. When I fold it in half, again in the hamburger fold, I'm going to cut from the center fold, right along that center fold. I'm going to cut from the folded edge in. Make sure that, there you go. You can watch the magic come together there. But if I don't apply the glue stick on the back side, sometimes these pages want to get off. See how it was just a little bit off there? So I find that applying glue stick on the back side makes the pages hold together and not look quite so wonky. But I'm using my bone folder again just to ease these folds the best I can before I apply the glue stick. This time I'm starting by pressing the outside edges rather than the inside together so that all of those edges line up. And then I let the inside pages glue back sides together. Using my bone folder again, I'm just making sure everything is burnished down well, the glue stick takes, and then turning page by page to make sure that everything is aligned the best I can do. And we're finished. So you have two different orientations depending on how you start the folds. If you start it with a hot dog fold, you get the tall and skinny book, and if you start with a hamburger fold, you get the shorter, wider book.